We were recently press credentialed at BookCon in New York City. And if you haven't heard of it, BookCon draws tens of thousands of book lovers, authors, and publishers. Walking that floor was a genuine eye opener. The independent publishing space is thriving in ways I didn't fully appreciate before going in. Today, you're going to hear directly from authors and publishers who are doing it their own way.
All right, Dave Gulas back at BookCon, and I'm here with Livy Yvonne. Hey, Livy.
Hi, this is my book to die for. It's a gothic thriller and dark romance. Think Haunting Outline meets Edgar Allan Poe, dashed in blood. It has all the thriller vibes and a very haunting ending that will just chill you to the bone.
Okay, now this book came out this past October.
Yes, and it's independently published.
Okay, we'll get into that in just a second. What inspired you to write this book?
So I'm like a huge serial killer and true crime buff, and I took that idea and ran with it. I love Edgar Allan Poe, so I really wanted to bring that into this as well. So it's very like lyrically and poetically written. The imagery is supreme. I've been doing it.
And this is your debut novel?
Yes, this is my debut.
What was the process like, taking this idea that you had and actually making it into a tangible?
So for me, I'm style, right? I've always been that way. I don't make outlines. So I've had my initial idea and I ran with it, and from that, this huge thing blossomed, and I was like, oh, this would be great if I added this in and this in, and so there's a lot of fun mistakes that come out at the end too.
And how long did the process take you from start to finish?
So it took me about 6 months to write this, and then it went through several rounds of professional editing, and that probably took 4 months.
Okay. All right. And then why did you make the decision to independently publish rather than going with like a major label?
So I tried. I was rejected 27 times and was like, okay, well then I'm just gonna do this myself. I did so much research. I designed the cover myself. It took months because I am not a graphic designer. But yes, and then editing was professionally done because that's a big deal. I did try traditional publishing, but unfortunately it's just very competitive. So.
Okay, all right, and going through that whole process and not giving up, because 27 times to be rejected by something that really you're passionate about, you put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into, right? You didn't give up, and then you went the independent route. What did you learn through that process?
So believing in yourself is the most important thing because it hurts to be rejected in any aspect. But I just learned to not take it personally. I believed in my book, and I thought it deserved it. So I pushed through and I did it, honestly and personally.
Love that. Okay, and what's been the response since it came out?
I actually have gotten a lot of really positive feedback. The biggest thing that people compliment my book on is the imagery. So when you read it, you feel like you're in the haunted land that it takes place in. Like you can see the wallpaper, you can smell the smells. So that's like the biggest compliment is how well it's written.
Okay, and we're here at BookCon 2026. First time it's been back here in New York in 7 years, I understand. What's been the vibe like since you've been here?
So really energetic, really happy. Everyone here just loves to read. Everyone loves books, and so everyone's just been so nice. People that I've met, other vendors I've met, like it's just been really fun.
Okay, all right, and if people want to learn more about you, your book, what's the best way people can find you online?
So, Livy Yvonne, my name. If you Google me, all my social media come up. I'm on every social media. I have an author website. My book is available also on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited, and the Audible is out.
All right, Livy, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, Dave Gulas back here at BookCon, and I'm with Carmen Rosales. Hey, Carmen.
Hi.
So, Carmen, you are a full-time author. You're the author of the Prey series, which is what you're most known for, as well as many other titles. You've written 44 books.
Yeah.
We were talking. You told me you make your living as a full-time author.
Yes.
So tell us how that happened.
Well, I'm finishing my doctorate degree, and I wanted to do something creative, and we were in COVID in 2020, and at the time I just wanted to open my own business and do something, but at the same time follow my heart, and it was writing. And I just went into the business side of publishing, and I opened my own publishing company, and I started publishing my books through there. And it took off, and that's how I became a full-time author.
Okay. All right. And so as we're talking, in the last 6 years, you've published 44 books.
Yes.
You've written and published 44 books. How do you keep up that type of pace?
I write 6 chapters a day. It's basically, I like to say, ass and chair. Put your ass in chair and write, and you just put it out there. Don't think hard about it. After that, you can revise it, edit it, send it to an editor, re-edit it, and you'll have a finished product. You just have to work at it.
Okay, so you're certainly disciplined to put in the work. Talk about the actual business of publishing and making a living as an author in today's world. What's that been like for you?
That has been challenging. You have to find the market. You have to find what you like, what you write. I like to always say, follow your heart. Don't just write something just because you want to make money out of it. This is not, I don't feel, in my personal opinion, that that's like the right way to go about it. I think you should find your heart and just find what speaks to you. If you like to read it, try writing it. That's all I like to say.
Okay, all right, and so what are your books about?
My books are dark romance. I go from mafia, it could be dark college, it could be, like for example, my Prey series is based on the 7 Deadly Sins. So I just like to play around with different, different stories, different characters, and I like to build my character arc first, and then I go from there.
Okay, and why did you decide to self-publish and stay independent this whole time?
Creative control. I like to control my creativity. I try to first let a publisher do an ebook, and I didn't like the cover. They wanted to change the cover, and I didn't agree with it. I let it go for it that time, and then I had to recover the do the book covers and how I wanted it. It just didn't match what my vision was.
Okay, so you stayed true to your vision. And what's it been like connecting with your community and keeping them engaged as you've grown this whole catalog you have?
Be personal, be real, engage with them, offer them, listen to them, what they like, what they didn't like, and I just like to listen to what they want and give them the product that they're looking for. They want Morally Gray, give them Morally Gray. If they like, oh, I like this, or Carmen, and write more of this, or I want another book, I'll give them another book.
Okay, and so we're here at BookCon. What's been your impression thus far of BookCon?
BookCon is amazing. You get to engage with a lot of readers, a lot of other authors. I've met, plenty of other readers on different genres. I mean, everything you want to find in BookCon, it's here.
Okay, and Carmen, if people want to find out more about your work, where can they find you online?
I'm on Instagram and TikTok. I'm Carmen Rosales author.
Okay, Carmen, thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, Dave Gulas back here at BookCon, and I'm with Natasha Charisse. Hey, Natasha.
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. All right, so I came across your booth and it caught my eye. And so you were telling me that you wrote 4 books in under a year.
Yes.
Which sounds incredible. Tell us about your books and what you're doing.
So 3 of them are from the Survivor's Language series, ladies edition, men's edition, and teens edition. I wanted to make sure I covered most of the family because everybody's been through some type of trauma and abuse. And so it's a self-guided journal where people are allowed to not just read the book, but you're active in your healing process. And then the last book is called No Longer My Secret. It's about my 5.5-year experience with domestic violence and how I overcame it.
Okay, wow, and you just launched this recently in the past year, is that right?
So the 3 books came out between last August and last October, and then the last book came out in February.
Okay, so very recent. So what made you write these books and launch this new business after going through that long journey of abuse?
Well, I noticed that the more I shared my experience, the more other people shared their experience, but they didn't know how to start the healing process. And so everybody doesn't necessarily go to therapy. Like, there's no harm in healing in the comfort of your own home. That's what I thought.
Okay, so you provide resources where people can do the work without necessarily having to feel uncomfortable, and they can do it in their own.
Yes, but I still encourage therapy.
Okay, still encourage therapy. And then what's been the best part of launching this product and writing these books for you?
Just being able to help people heal. I just think that if everybody healed, the world would be a lot
And you're here in New York, so clearly, right?
We need every kind of piece of healing possible.
Okay. And you're a seasoned entrepreneur as well. You're telling me you have a couple other businesses. You want to tell us about that?
Yes, so my first business is my nonprofit organization. We actually deal with domestic violence in the church. This October makes 10 years that I've had that. And then my other business, Naturally Classy, where I make skin and hair care products. That's been running 6 years. And then my third business, Naturally Classy Consulting, that's been running 4 years, where I help people get their LLCs, their nonprofit paperwork, their 501c3s, everything you need to help start your business.
Okay, love it. And Natasha, if people want to find you online and learn more about everything you're doing, what's the best way they can reach out to you?
NatashaSharice.com.
Okay, Natasha, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, Dave Gulas back here at BookCon, and I'm with Takesha.
Yes.
Wow, so Takesha, we were just talking off camera. You are just oozing with passion about this book you've written, your publishing company,
Yes.
and this character Dower, who tell us.
Dower is a representation of love and light, and the reason why I'm so passionate about it is because it's about unity and how we're all connected at the end of the day. And I really wanted to put a feel-good story out, but that also had deeper themes and messages about environmentalism and land protection and intergenerational healing and love and spirit. And so Dower is like everything, and I hope readers will find it and just listen to the messages that it gives.
Okay, all right, and Dower, the name is
part flower, part dog is the character, and he's representative of our character Cassidy, who's Japanese and Black, and we have other representations of other cultures in the book as well. And we also, Dower is powered by the sun. So we created Dower Power batteries. We have AA batteries. We have Dower Power doggy treats.
Oh,
So we have it all.
oh boy, I gotta get some of those doggy treats for my dog.
Yes, you do.
Okay, and so you were telling me you wrote the original story back in high school
Yes.
that would ultimately become this novel.
Yes.
So after all these years, what inspired you to write the novel?
My niece Cassidy. So my niece Cassidy was born, and I really wanted to give her a story that can, present a legacy and something that she can look back on and understand a vision can come to life. And so that's why I took Dower and created a much longer novel with deeper meanings and messages.
Okay, and how long did that whole process take you?
10 plus years.
Oh, wow. So truly a labor of love.
Yes.
And you didn't quit. You kept
I
going.
kept going. You got to keep going because it's about divine timing. It may not happen when you want it, but you got to trust and believe that if it's in your heart for you to do, it will happen. You just have to keep going.
I love that. Okay, and so you also started a publishing company, which
Yes.
is called Pie in the Sky Publishing.
Pie in the Sky Publishing, because I was actually doing this work in writing for some of your large corporations, and I ended up saying, hey, why not just do this for myself? And so that's why I started Pie in the Sky Publishing, and also to help support other authors who want to publish books and don't want to do vanity press, but really want to think outside the box when it came to presenting stories. And so that's why we have Pie in the Sky Publishing, and we want to be just like a Penguin or Simon Schuster or whatever, and really give authors an opportunity to share their messages to the world.
Okay, and so our audience is all entrepreneurs, startup founders, many of whom have written books, but they're not in the business of writing. So we're coming from someone in the publishing world. What's the biggest misconception people may have about making a career as a writer?
I think that it's something that you have to get someone else to help support you do, like an agent, a literary agent, or you have to go through a large publishing firm. There's companies like myself out there that will help you step by step. We work with people. I have a great guy from Sony Pictures that I used to work with, who we help writers take their stories and make them marketable and take them through the journey so that they know that it's not hard to do. You just got to be connected to the right people that is looking to help you.
of that. Okay, and Keisha, if people are hearing this and they want to learn more about your novel, your publishing company, or the other work you're doing, what's the best way people can find you online?
www.pieskypublishing.com. So we're pie in the sky, but we couldn't get that URL. So we're pieskypublishing.com. And so that's where you can find us.
Okay, Takesha, thanks so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, Dave Gulas back at BookCon, and I'm here with Felicia. Hey, Felicia.
Hi.
So you are the author of the series, The Alpha's Destiny.
Yep.
And it's a 6-part series. Number 3 comes out next week.
Next year.
Next year, pardon me.
Yep.
Okay. So what inspired you to write this series?
I was playing a game on my phone. So I was playing this game on my phone. It was late at night, and I was like, I could make a really good story. So then I spent the next 4 days and wrote the entire book one. And then I shipped it all. I emailed it to my best friend, and I was like, hey, what do you think of this book? And so she reads it, edits it, and she's like, it's kind of shit, but it has really good bones, so just do the edits. And I spent 8 months editing this book, and it went from 200 pages to this big giant 600-page book. And it went from just normal werewolves to me creating this whole scheme of things where the werewolves got banished, they're in our world, and the werewolves are trapped inside witches. So it's 2 souls for share one body. And so the werewolves walk around in their mind and claw at their insides, and the witches get to decide whether or not they shift into their wolf form or not.
Okay, that's some heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And so in book 1, you also created a publishing company to put all these out.
I did. I felt like a lot of authors get taken advantage of, so I wanted to put the author first. So I make sure that the author gets more of the royalties than my publishing company, but I also create an entire line of products where it's based off of their book completely, so the readers can fully immerse themselves in the book as they're reading it. So I have teas and candles, perfumes, colognes, a whole line of products just for the books I publish.
And what's been the response? Because especially in an industry where the fan experience is so critical and so tied to what's been the response to that business?
The fans are loving it. I sell so much perfume along with the books, so many candles, because a lot of people they love to light a candle and read their book. They love to drink tea and read their book. So being able to have something that is from the world they're reading, so they can fully immerse themselves in it, is just amazing. I've gotten nothing but good feedback from it.
Okay, and what's been the response to, because you mentioned to a lot of the bigger publishing houses, maybe there's that, I guess in your experience, they take advantage of the authors. And so how do you balance the need for the cost of promotion and what it takes to really make a book go versus the author who really, most people would say is the most important part of that equation?
Yeah, they are the most important. Yeah. They do all the work. I mean, given I am out here marketing and promoting, and getting my author out there, but they're the one who set up every night, late nights, writing their book, getting frustrated, crumpling up papers or deleting and backspacing and whatnot, they're putting in all the hearts. So I wanted to make sure that they felt like they were getting the recognition and felt worthy of everything that they worked so hard to get.
Okay.
And they even get a portion of all the sales of all the line that I make for them.
Okay.
And I hand make it all myself.
You do?
I do.
Okay. How long does that take?
It depends on the product. Perfume, super easy. The candles, they take forever.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. And if people want to learn more about your company and potentially even if there's some authors that want to work with you, what's the best way people can find you online?
I have a form you can fill out on my website, bloodboundbookspublishing.com. So you can go and check me out on there. I have a lot of products on there. Livy Yvonne's book to Die For is on there. The Alpha's Legacy series is on there. So
Okay. Thanks so much.
thank you.
All right, Dave Gulas back here at BookCon, and I'm with Tim Roberts from Critical Kit. Hey, Tim.
Hey there, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. So tell us what Critical Kit is.
So Critical Kit is a publishing company that creates role-playing games. So we basically create storytelling games.
Okay. And we were talking about this off camera, how you are an accidental entrepreneur.
Yep, I am an accidental entrepreneur. I used to be a software developer, but I was always fighting with the creative side of my brain. So yeah, I wrote a game about 5 years ago, and I didn't really think past that game. But the game did really well, so I started writing more. But then I also started looking out for other smaller games that couldn't get their things to market, and I decided as I developed that knowledge, I could share that knowledge and help them publish. So yeah, I became their publisher, and yeah, now I pay people royalties, and pretty much like a traditional publishing model. Yeah,
and it's all. So to tell us about your flagship title, which is Be Like a Crow. So it's a solo role-playing game?
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. Be Like a Crow is the thing, that's the game that started everything off. So that was the game I was talking about. But I hadn't even thought past it. So it's basically it's a game where you can be one of several types of corvid. So you can be a jackdaw, a raven, a rook, a magpie, and you can play in different worlds as well. So you can play in like this world, in our world, even in your own town, or you can play in like a fantasy world, a gothic world, science fiction, cyberpunk. We've got Norse mythology, Wild West. There's loads of different worlds, but ultimately you are still a bird in those worlds, an anthropomorphized bird, but you are a bird negotiating all the challenges of that world.
Okay. All right. And so when you initially wrote that, like you said, you didn't think it much past that. What was it like when that solo game really took off?
It was, so it happened we did a crowdfunding campaign. Someone convinced me to try it. And it started off a little bit slow, and then in the middle it just went wild. It got some traction on a gaming website. I think the fact it was crows caught people's imagination, and yeah, it blew up very quickly. It was going to be a much smaller game, and we raised so much funding that I decided to make it a bigger game, because I had the luxury of doing that because of the funding that we raised.
Okay. All right. And so now we're here at BookCon. What's been your impression of BookCon thus far?
It's absolutely amazing. It's very busy. This was always going to be a risk for us, even though we have storytelling games. We weren't 100% sure if everybody would take to them, or understand what we had. But yeah, we've been really surprised. We've been blown away by the reception, and we're glad we're trying to reach new markets. I think it's important to always think outside of your, what you consider your core market, and try and look at, adjacent markets if they're similar. Like, for instance, our gaming, our role-playing games are very close to board gamers, so they understand the games, whereas book publishing and things slightly different, readers, but a lot of people here are creative writers, and our solo games are creative writing games, so we figured, why not give it a try.
Okay. And what's been the best part of this whole journey for you?
I think I always love meeting people and talking to them about the games and hearing about their experiences with the games, and what stories they've told. People generally at conventions will bring me the things they've done with the games and the stories, and that's very interesting. But from a more capitalist side of things, it's also really good to increase the awareness of our brand. It's also really good to introduce people to these kind of games. Try and get them off their phones and get them playing these games. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And Tim, if people want to find out more about you and your company, what's the best way people can find you online?
So the best way to find us online is go to criticalkit.co.uk, or you can go to criticalkit.us, and all our socials are on there. All our games are on there, and you can also go into your local gaming store and ask us. We've got distribution across the state.
Okay. All right, Tim. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, Dave Gulas back here at BookCon, and I'm with Jasmine from IDW. Hey, Jasmine. So tell us, what does IDW and Top Shelf do?
Yeah, IDW and Top Shelf do a wide range of graphic novels. For IDW specifically, we do a lot of licensed materials. So we have Godzilla, we have Sonic, we have TMNT, and Star Trek notably. And then for Top Shelf, we have a wide range of original graphic type novels. This could range from anything from kids novels all the way up to adult horror. So we have everything for your fancy.
Okay. All right. And so 2026, what is it like in this business, in terms of getting some of these graphic novels. Like I see you've got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I remember I saw that one probably 40 years ago. Right? What's it like in this business, getting books out there and living with that?
It's actually really fun. So we have a real well-established process by now. We just kind of go around. We say, what can we do to make our fans really interested in our books? We want to keep you guys engaged because we don't want physical media to go away. I'm sure everyone's concerned with that at BookCon, but we're here to stay. So we go out of our way to make sure we have storylines that everyone that can interact with, from our fans to new readers. And we make sure that we take it all the way from creation all the way to your bookstore. That way everyone can interact with them. We have new runs. We have old runs that are fan favorites. A little bit of everything for everyone. We want to make sure we hit all our markets.
Okay. And so speaking of fans, right, like the energy here at BookCon is incredible. So many people. It's hard to even move through the aisles. I see people dressed up as characters.
Yeah.
Like people are just totally like geeking out. Like talk about creating the fan experience that really connects your readers with your product.
Yeah, of course. So at IDW, we and Top Shelf, we believe that we are our own fans first and that we're always just making stuff for our fans. Being at BookCon is like the greatest thing ever. I think everyone's on the same page when it comes to just wanting to read good book material and good books and want to get back into this industry. So to see our fans, it's like bottom of our heart. We adore you guys. And then to also make sure that our fans are welcomed, we always give crazy discounts. We want to make sure they're getting books that they might not have known about, and we want to make sure that they're continuing on the storyline correctly. So if you're a fan, we have something for you. I promise.
Okay. All right. And if people want to learn more or find out anything more about your titles and whatnot, where can they find you online?
Yeah, you can find us on all of our socials at IDW Publishing. At IDW Publishing, and then for Top Shelf, you can do at Top Shelf Comics, which is TOPSHELF COMIX.
Okay. All right. Jasmine, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.